the next thing I'm going to work on is my vase. I like those white vases with the blue on them. So I'm going to start with a C1, which is a cool gray. And I'm just going to color in areas that would be shaded on my white vase. These areas up near the plant would be getting some shadow from, or not from the plant, but from the flowers. They'd be getting shadow from the flowers. Any place that the artist has stippled, you can count on it. She knew there should be a shadow there. So I'm going to take my cues from her. The base I'm going to color. I'm going to go back in with my C3 and darken on the left, because again we established that, oops, I got out of lines a little bit there. The other use that I've already mentioned for my clear blender is fixing things like that. I'm not too worried about it because I'm going to be putting shadow down there anyway, but I'm going to put a little bit different gray down there, so I will get rid of it. I'm taking my clear blender now and I'm just scumbling a bit to soften these gray edges. Now, if you buy any refills when you get Copic markers, you really should buy a clear blender refill. This is what you will run out of ink in first. And using a clear blender that's blender fluid is drying up is a great way to destroy a tip. You do not want to color with a dry tip. Tips are fragile when they start getting dried out, so do yourself a favor, get extra clear blender fluid. I'm going to add some blues. I'm taking a B21. Karen has a bit of a checkerboard pattern established here. I'm simply coloring in every other line with a B21. I'm going to do the same in the base, though it's not showing up very much in the base since I've already used a C3 down there. Now I'm taking a B23 and I'm going to enhance the blues, deepen them, the ones that are just on this side of the pot, the picture, in the shadow areas, and probably on this side too where the form turns. I will also add blue to these little dots that form a band. I think I'm going to go back to my B21 to get the center dots. And I'm pleased now with the picture. Shadows are normally cool. I'm not using cool shadows today, and here's why. Because I wanted a white vase and I wanted it to be something of a cool white, I still want the gray around the outside of my vase and the gray that I'm using for a shadow to be different from each other. So I'm going to opt for a warm shadow. Technically not what shadows are, but it will work. And you will be able to distinguish between the two. This is a W1. I'm just going to add a little line around the outside of my vase. I don't normally outline a whole shape, but I'm doing this in order to help make that white pop as white. When I say pop, I mean show up as, appear to be. I will soften those edges, however. Okay, clear blender time again. See, I use the clear blender a lot, just not always for blending. Or, well, yeah, for blending. I'm using it here to blend into the white of the paper. If your clear blender is not nice and wet, it won't do a good job of this. If you're having a problem with it, just check. Touch it to your hand, see if it feels wet. If it doesn't feel wet, it needs a refill. Okay, see how adding just that bit of gray all the way around it really made the pot look whiter. My next step is that I'm going to use the Spellbinder's die and I'm going to airbrush a background in. I'm going to save that for next week, however, because I can upload only 10 minutes worth of video at a time. I hope you learned something today. Thank you for visiting the classroom.